One of the ways in which your job can be psychologically harmful to you is when you have management and upper level management playing mind games with you, making you think that you are not good at your job. Meanwhile, they just don't like you and they want you to quit. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling men and women who have been victims and or perpetrators of abuse for quite some time now. And I've also worked with corporations as well for quite some time as well. And so one of these things that, corporations will do is a phenomenon. I think they rename it every few years, but, I think most recently it's called quiet firing. And basically it's essentially a reverse discard where, you have this job, but you have managers, you have this like target on your back where you feel like your manager is constantly targeting you, even for the smallest things. HR is targeting you. You feel like there's these meetings and maybe you can't necessarily prove it because, again, people are very quick to dismiss it, especially if you're Black or person of color. It can certainly be microaggressive, where they ignore any attempts for you to get help, seek feedback, especially after a particularly punitive meeting, a PIP, things like that. But it's more like, we want you out of here, we want you gone, and we want to make it as miserable as possible for you to work here. We're not going to tell you that, but we're going to do all of these things to make you think that, hey, we're here to help you, but really we're not. We don't like you. We're going to make this a hostile work environment. And so things that other employees can sort of skate by and not get dinged for, they're dinging you for absolutely every single thing that you do. So there's really nothing, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. There's really nothing that you can do to sort of, get back in the good graces or, turn things around. And it may even follow you if you try to switch departments or switch teams, because people do talk even though they're not supposed to. That rule really doesn't apply to you when it comes to you. And, there's this, you're not liked, right? And you come to know that you're not liked, but they also want to make sure that not only you're not liked, because being liked isn't everything at your job, but you're not welcome here. So we're going to make it as uncomfortable as possible for you to work here. And that could be, constantly, being pulled into meetings, constantly being given negative feedback, being accused of doing something that you don't do. All of a sudden it's a problem if you come to work 5 minutes late or, you leave early. You have to get permission for everything. Everything has to have a second or a third pair of eyes on it before it gets approved. You're really micromanaged to a T. And even if you do everything right, you also do nothing right. And that's simple, that they want you gone. And there's nothing, like once this sets in, like this parasitic phenomenon sort of sets in, there's nothing that you can do to, turn things around, unfortunately. When you try to seek the counsel or the mentorship or the support of your colleagues, and you tell them what you've been experiencing, they are often quick to dismiss it and tell you it is all in your mind. Just forget it. No one cares. No one's going to get fired. I came in 30 minutes late and no one said anything. And so they dismiss it. They tell you about their infractions and how they're not getting anything. And, they even sort of further gaslight you to make you think that you're crazy, that like, I didn't see what you're talking about. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Well, I have this relationship with this supervisor, this manager, and it's not me, or, and they don't treat me like that, and so they're sort of quick to point out like the discrepancies and making you think that it's all in your head. They're letting you know that, hey, I'm not really going to support you. I'm not going to rock the boat here. So don't look to me for help. Don't look to me to console you if you're feeling bad. They also could be stabbing you in the back, unbeknownst to you, when you may be seeking refuge in a friend or a peer or a colleague. These people, while they may appear to be benevolent on the surface, they could also be going around and sort of, sticking a knife in your back, reporting back to your supervisor, reporting back to upper level management. This was something that was very common when I worked in corrections, because, in my job, people have a crabs in a bucket mentality. And while they may smile in your face, trust and know that they're sort of gossiping behind your back, and they'll never tell you that. But they're sort of, running your name through the mud, through anybody that will listen, because they're trying to get leadership to look at them in a positive way. And so it could definitely be a situation where you have to be careful, because even the person you thought was your friend, which again, we all know that there's no coworkers that are truly friends at your job, right? But in situations where we think we have a friend, we have someone that we can connect with through trauma of the job, right? They're not really there for you. They'll take what you say. They'll appear to be supportive, but trust and know that that is used as ammunition. People are taking notes, and it's being further weaponized against you behind your back, whether you realize it or not. And it's really not a reflection at the end of the day of how well you do your job. It really doesn't come down to that. It just comes down to, we want you gone. We're going to, if you're, I think all states are at will states now. So we're going to say and do what we need to do to get you out of here, and we don't care. And so that's something that you need to sort of wrap your head around, that, you might as well go ahead and start cleaning out your desk, because again, they've sort of made it up in their mind. They're just trying to look for enough evidence to make a big enough case, or a big piece of evidence to make enough of a case to get you out of there. But all the while, they intend on, psychologically harming you, making you feel disliked, being mean, being, sort of giving you the silent treatment, being not responsive, not supportive, not answering questions, creating a paper trail, making you feel like you're watched. So sort of creating a sense of paranoia. You're always being watched. You're being monitored for everything that you do, even for things that you do outside of your job. That may not necessarily affect your employer, but it can get back to your employer. For example, if you went out for drinks or something of that nature with a colleague, or, went out to dinner and something was said while you were out to dinner, any of those kinds of things, are looking for any shred of evidence. So be careful with that. Do your job, go home, but always try to make sure that you have something else to fall back on or move around with, if and when you can. Thanks so much. Like, comment, follow, and share.